Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sandy Misowitz. I'm the Executive Director of the Capital Region Transportation Council. Thank you for joining me today for this Lunch and Learn virtual workshop for our 2025-2026 Unified Planning Work Program. I'll begin today's session reviewing who we are. If you're not familiar with us, we are the Metropolitan Planning Organization for the Capital Region. We represent the counties of Albany, Rensselaer, Saratoga, and Schenectady. We are federally funded and undertake transportation policy making and planning for our region. And we allocate the federal transportation funds that come to the capital region for various projects, plans, and programs. And our structure as an MPO, we're guided by a policy board. Our policy board members include our 8 cities. Our policy board is currently chaired by the mayor of Albany, Kathy Sheehan. We also have representation from the 4 counties. We have 2 rotating town and village members. And then we also have the town of Colony as a permanent member of our board, along with regional and state agencies like New York State Department of Transportation, Capital District Transportation Authority, CDRPC, the Capital District Regional Planning Commission, and then the Port of Albany, the airport, and the Thruway Authority. The policy board gets its direction from our planning committee, which is our technical working group that is comprised of the staff and designated representatives of each policy board member. And we work the most with our planning committee, our advisory committees as a staff to put together the materials for our NPO. And what are some of the key functions of an NPO? We're under federal law required to develop a metropolitan transportation plan. Our current plan is known as New Visions 2050. We're updating that plan right now to a new plan called In Motion, the Plan to 2050. Metropolitan transportation plans, you'll also hear me refer to them as regional transportation plans, are updated every 5 years. We are also required to develop a transportation improvement program, which is a capital program of projects that covers a 5-year period of time. That document is updated every 3 years, and we're currently updating that document as well to the next time frame of 2025 to 2030. And then the document we're here to talk about today is our Unified Planning Work Program, which we update on an annual basis, and it contains all of the Transportation Council planning activities, the budgets for those activities. And I'm going to walk through the UPWP and the planning work we have proposed for the upcoming year. Our work plan, it covers the year, our state fiscal year that begins April 1st, ending March 31st. The document includes lists of the different tasks that we intend to undertake, describes who's going to perform that work, whether it's a staff activity, a consultant, a community, what are the timeframes, the costs, and the fund sources. Again, it's a federally required document. And it does list planning activities to be undertaken with all of our federal resources, as well as under other funding programs that we have access to. We started the development process back in October, where we issued a call for projects. In December, our state DOT issued guidance and gave us funding estimates for the upcoming year. The deadline for this submissions for applications was December 6th. We received 3 applications through that process. In January, we intend to, or did share with our planning committee, a draft UPWP, which they approved with our recommended set of projects. And that then opened a 25-day public review period, which is where we are right now. And following this review period, we intend to bring this document to our policy board at its March 6th meeting for adoption. Some of the federal fund sources that are included in our Unified Planning Work Program are from the Federal Highway Administration, the planning funds. We refer to them as PL funds. These are in federal law, formula-based on population in terms of how they're distributed to MPOs. There's a subset of those funds called the PL set-aside, which we've kind of nicknamed Complete Streets. That represents 2.5% of those Federal Highway Administration PL funds, and it's designated to sort of complete streets and safety planning work. We also receive planning funds through the Federal Transit Administration, or the FTA, called the Metropolitan Planning Program. Those funds are also distributed to MPOs primarily based on population. Our funding resources increased largely at the rate of inflation between last year and this upcoming year, so no real significant changes in our resources. Um, and I will describe in some detail here what we're going to be using these funds for. This first group of projects are sort of our administration work, things like public involvement, technical assistance, some of our more general planning activities. We administer a statewide contract for a consultant to lead our statewide association. That's the largest dollar value project at $300,000. We do have an equity and non-discrimination task in which we're going to update our Title VI analysis report. We're going to evaluate the effectiveness of our public participation plan, which was adopted about a year and a half ago. And we're going to continue to offer free technical or very low-cost technical assistance to communities throughout the region for various small-scale planning activities. This next group of projects are sort of data-oriented, data collection, census data, what have you. We do offer our communities the opportunity to request traffic counts, bicycle and pedestrian counts as a free service. We also have eco counters that we make available for trail counts. So we have a number of ways we can assist communities with data collection. We're also working with our friends at the Capital District Regional Planning Commission to develop population, household, and employment projections through the use of census data for our regional travel demand model. And we routinely invest in our geographic information system, which is our mapping tool that we use to visualize data. And we're doing more and more with interactive maps and story maps. And there's going to be further investment in the build of those tools, which are all available on our website. This group of planning activities relate to some of our demand management, metropolitan transportation plannings, linkage study, administration, these sorts of activities. You'll note our biggest investment for this upcoming year as a starting point, and really this effort's going to go over several years, is the update of our regional travel demand model. We are planning to do a data refresh of the underlying data within our model, and adding some additional counties, particularly Washington, Warren, and Montgomery. So that's going to be a major effort for us. As I mentioned at the beginning, we're updating our regional transportation plan right now. So a major task for this year is going to be completing the in-motion plan. Related to signals, we want to develop a smart corridor program and figure out a scope of work to help modernize our signal systems and figure out ways that we can implement innovative tools and use technology to improve our signals. And we're also going to begin tackling housing planning in partnership with the Capital District Regional Planning Commission and looking at affordable housing planning for the region, assessing our needs, what are the issues related to housing in our region. The next group of projects relate to complete streets, active transportation, and some climate work. And freight planning as well. With freight planning, we're particularly interested in gathering data related to over-dimensioned vehicles and the impact they're having on infrastructure in the region, and making sure we have a route or a series of routes for over-dimensioned vehicles to operate, particularly as we invest in wind energy with GE over in Schenectady and our port in Albany. We want to make sure goods can be shipped from one location to another. A new effort that we'll be undertaking for our ADA transition planning work is for Albany County, who will be we'll be working with them to develop a new transition plan and do some data collection on their condition of their sidewalks. We'll also be working to develop a regional active transportation or complete streets network. As we're investing in active transportation, we want to make sure that there is some kind of a network connecting, that we're just not picking individual streets and implementing things without it having some cohesion for the region. And we're also looking to expand the work of our Clean Cities program, which traditionally is focused on our immediate 4 counties, but can actually go beyond that, as that is a US DOE funded program. This group of projects relates to project development capital projects specifically. So we'll complete the work to update our 2025-2030 transportation improvement program this year. And we'll restart monitoring our project delivery as a region. We are also to complete our air quality conformity analysis for both the TIP and our in motion plan. That's a Clean Air Act requirement. We're going to continue to support our partners at DOT and in Schenectady County for some large-scale planning studies that are going on, including the Reimagine 787 study, the Route 378 bridge replacement project, and then the study in Schenectady County near Schenectady, SUNY Schenectady, the I-890 Washington Avenue corridor study, where we're looking at realigning some of the exits and creating a more walkable environment near the campus. This next group of activities relate to transit and demand management and safety and security. So we're going to be coordinating with the Capital District Transportation Authority on their transit development plan and seeking ways to implement that plan. We're going to continue to support our demand management initiatives, particularly our carpool program and supporting New York 511. We'll be working to complete our Capital Region Vision Zero Safety Action Plan, which has been a major investment for us. And we're preparing, or we will be preparing an infrastructure resiliency plan to make sure that we think about making our system resilient to issues related to flooding or emergencies or other things that can happen as we're operating the system. And then this final large group of initiatives is really some of what we call our linkage programs studies. These are local government initiatives that we partner with those folks on to look at corridor studies, maybe it's safety studies. There's a whole range of activities that are eligible. There are 3 new projects being proposed, partnering with Albany County on a complete street study on a few roadways and sections of the county. In the village of Ballston Spa, we're looking to partner with them on a traffic calming master plan for the village. And in the city of Saratoga Springs, we will be partnering with the city on the West Avenue Complete Streets study. There's a few studies, about 5 that are highlighted in gray tone here. But there are 5 studies that are pretty close to being completed that are going to bleed into this new fiscal year a little bit. So they're still being carried into the new work plan. But we do expect most of these studies to be wrapped up by May or June at the absolute latest. And then we have a couple of studies, the Central Avenue West Corridor Study, the Half Moon Clifton Park County Route 109 Corridor Study, and then the Niskayuna Complete Street Study on Route 7 that are kind of in their infancy and are just getting started now. So that is a very quick summary of some of the planning activities we'll be undertaking this year. As I said, we're in the public review period now. You're welcome to submit any comments you have by March 5th. To review the details of our document, you can go to tinyurl.com/2025 UPWP. There is also a summary document there if you want to just do the at the glance of the report. To collect some feedback, we have a survey available on Jotform that you're welcome to take. We are also, in addition to this virtual workshop, we are hosting an open house on Tuesday, February 11th from 4 to 6 p.m. at our office, where you can come in person, ask questions, raise concerns, make suggestions about transportation planning in the region. And you don't need to pre-register for that. You can email comments to us at any time, certainly mail them, call us, fax them, even if you have a fax machine, which many of us don't have anymore. So that's sort of the overview of the whole process and document. I'll stop there to take any questions that you may have.
Sandy, yeah, so there's one in the chat asking where can I find more information on getting involved in the regional traffic demand model that was discussed earlier?
So getting involved, we can certainly share more information with you. The getting involved, I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. But if you want to clarify that in your question, I can probably better answer to that. Yes, I can drop into the chat. Actually, Adam, can you drop in the chat the survey URL?
Yes, I'll get that.
Okay, thank you. I'll shift it back so you can see it. Is there any other questions? Okay. Hearing none. I'm just leaving the slide up with the contact information for the recording. Are there more details of the individual plans online? So for the linkage studies, there are more information in terms of the in the document. There's a description of each of those planning studies that's being proposed. And in terms of the active studies, you can go to our website, find the section on linkage program, and we have a chart that we update every month that links to additional information about all of those active planning studies. Interested in seeing the results and outcomes of the demand model if possible. Yeah, Michael, if you want to follow up with us offline, we can talk more about our travel demand model. Any other questions or comments? Okay. Well, thank you. This was quick today, but I do appreciate it. We'll make the recording available on our website for future viewing. And if you have any additional questions, let us know. Thanks, everybody.